T26, and that's victory. So let's have a look at the stats and then see the turn. If you watched all the videos, you know I had a very bad start, losing basically all my army on turn 2. So on turn 1 I was 447 and he was 480. And on turn 2 I divided my score by 2 more or less, and got huge difficulties, and I was not able to go back and surpass xlnt before turn 16. I should open my notes. Yeah, so turn 15 actually was when xlnt took the Naga dwelling and lost a part of his army, so he was at 2200 on turn 14, 2280. Oh yeah, okay, so he didn't really at this stage he lost points. Turn 18, not yet sure what happened on turn 18, but anyway, on turn 15 he took some loss, so he didn't really gain points at this stage. It's not very clear because of the map. Yeah, here it should be clearer. So it was in a troubled period, whereas I was in a good move. On turn 15 I cleared the crystal tree. My army was quite good, and I was almost level 9 with my leader. My Theocrat was level 4, and then on turn 16 I reached level 9 and I googled my first troll at Ancient Ruins, and that's where my army started to snowball. And then the quest, on turn 16 I got 1 stack free from my vassal, and then from this point I started really snowballing. As you can see, I gained 500 points between turn 15 and 16. So early game was pretty difficult, and it took me 4 turns from turn 2 to turn 4 to go back to my level from the start, and then on turn 7 I started to grow again. So I was more or less 7 turns late, but xlnt didn't grow very fast either. And then starting on turn 15, which is really nice because that's the moment where our cubs cross each other, but actually that's also the moment where our paths crossed each other, and I met xlnt at the Naga dwelling. Here on the map is Raziel. That's my throne, that's my vassal, city vassal. That's the city I cleared. So I moved first there, I crashed on turn 2, then moved back, waited, built some units, cleared this, cleared that, came back, cleared sites there, and moved in this direction, and that's where I met him. And then he did some move. I tried to set a trap for him, didn't work. Then I knew I had to attack his Naga dwelling, so I took the Naga dwelling, and then we faced each other in this area. That's his throne. The city he had at some point, I guess he was the closest independent city. He didn't settle anything. And then, as you can see, all the other turns I just increased, and he decreased. If we check knowledge score, I forgot I should check when I got Whispers of the Fallen. I really started to increase fast, I think. Let's pause. Yeah, so I researched Whispers on turn 11 and then cast it on turn 13. And again, that's funny because that's the point where our cubs cross each other. So before that I was doing 12, 30, 40 research points every turn, depending on what I was able to clear, like Ancient Ruins, stuff like this. And then after that I really started to grow quite fast, like 100 points every turn. Here that's where I cleared the Sphinx Temple, whereas xlnt was still going pretty slow at 20 research points every turn. Happiness is naturally relevant for undead, but you can see it took me a while to come back from losing my leader and heroes. In terms of military, so here we can see when he lost part of his army on turn 14, but actually didn't lose that much. He lost one hero and actually did lose 400 points. So a hero and probably a hero and 4 or 5 Sun Guards. Each Sun Guards cost about 80, so that's more or less 400 points. And so before that I had more or less the same army as him, and then the gap grew wider and wider. In terms of domain, so when he got the Naga dwelling, he bumped, and then I took back the Naga dwelling. I took the Naga dwelling, then I took it back, then I took it back, and then I think he made several mistakes. One was not to analyze properly what I would take. So I played Necromancer high health, and because I knew he would take Necro, so I took Adept of Water, Master of Water to get Rot, and I took Grey Guard to get Essence Harvest, and that played pretty well against him. And then I did my best to get, when I was not like dying, I did my best to know what he was playing, and then scoot him and adapt. So I didn't build any cavalry, for instance, or T3, because he was playing with a lot of Sun Guards, and I didn't build anything that would have difficulties against him. Instead, I built a lot of initiates to evolve them, and Storm Sisters, because they do shock damage and they can stun, and that can be stunned, and they don't have any resistance to shock. Whereas he was just building a lot of Sun Guards, and he cast Embrace Darkness on his throne, but actually that's totally useless versus undeads, because you cannot do lifesteal on undeads, and Sun Guards are not that good versus high elves. So instead he should have built like Mystics and maybe focus on getting Sphinxes and stuff like this. And also when he saw, so that's one mistake. So first mistake is it's not taking the right spec, because it took fire, okay, why not, destruction, and Shadowborn. Shadowborn is quite useless against me. Second mistake is strategically not building the right thing, so Sun Guards. Third mistake I think is when we met, he just retreated and stayed in front of me doing nothing, and I think he had 3 options. One was to push in this direction, that's what I was afraid of. Then he could have cleared all this area, but then it opened this area to me, but he could have built some Sun Guards to push me back. That's one option. Option 2 was to go and attack me. Option 3 was to retreat entirely and then go to the underground and continue. Actually, he could have done that pretty early and go underground, because he had a cave entrance nearby. I didn't. Fourth mistake I think is bad scooting and not putting pressure on me, because when he was there, he could have sent some Lost Souls, cross there, and go in my back and go attack here, attack my throne, or go through the north. But instead it just sent Lost Soul in the middle for me to catch them and kill them. So yeah, so I'm actually saying how to beat me, but I think it's interesting to get this kind of debrief. So yeah, that's it. Oh no, sorry, I forgot the knife thing. So the final battle was just a carnage, butchery for him. Didn't lose anything and just destroyed him. Didn't even have to cast Rot. My leader didn't cast it. Telna did cast Smith twice with her 25 casting point. But because I knew it was the end of the game, so I wanted to see if I could clear these 3 sites, so that was kind of challenge to myself. So sorry, the video is going to be a bit longer. I think it might be interesting. I didn't show much Necromancer early tactical battles, how to play. So here we go. No, sorry, not this one. That's not the first one. So I was only with 3 units. My Necromancer hero and my 2 lost souls, and they were all injured, and I had to face 4 enemy units. So how do you do that? And they charge you on round 1. So I've got 2 opportunities to cast Stiffen Limb, and at the beginning I was planning to use it on first combat and just do that combat, but then it went pretty well, so I continued, and I didn't even need to use Stiffen Limb. So I've got a nice obstacle here. So of course you have to use it to split the enemy units, and they split naturally, 1 Warg on one side and 3 units on the other. So you have to keep that split like this and encourage them. So here I position my Lost Soul at just 1x outside their range, so the Kobold can move 4, the Troll can Ogre can move 5, so I'm just 1x outside, and they will move toward me, and then I can keep them busy while I kill the Warg. And then for the Warg, so what I'm doing is what is called blocking, which is to give him only one valid target, and a target that he likes, because if it's a Wisp, for instance, or a unit with first strike, he might not go for it. But the Lost Soul is cool, and it doesn't have any nasty stuff like Static Shield. So it just uses 6 movement points, attacks the Lost Soul, and then because it doesn't guard anymore because he attacked me, I can just destroy him with Black Bolt, kill it, and then that's 1 enemy down, and I can deal with the other. Actually, that's not the best positioning here for me, because the best would be to go behind the Warg and continue just Black Bolting him, but here I can't because configuration is like this. So I was hoping the Dread Monkey would go for this Lost Soul, but it doesn't, but that's not a big deal. Then I also have Lifesteal on my Necro, so I can try to heal myself. I've got Heal Undead, I've got Raise Corpse, which is definitely very, very important, and I've got Throw Curse, which can be used both to increase my damage and to do some movement advantage. So on first run I used Throw Curse on the Ogre, so both ways it's good for me. If it works, it slows him down. If it doesn't, it decreases his defense and resistance by 2, and then I can do at least 2 more damage on fire, on frost and on blight with my Black Bolts. Also, it makes him unhappy, and then you've got Explode Despair on the Lost Souls, and so you're doing +4 +2 damage because he has 2 levels of no, actually only 1 level, so +2 +1. So that's very nice. Also going with the Lost Souls. So I kill the Warg, then the monkey is going to flank me, but that's not too bad because he cannot kill me. I put the Lost Soul here to try to prevent the monkey from reaching me, but actually he has sprint, so he's still going to reach me. Or kill my Lost Soul. But that's not too bad, because it has Undying, obviously, and so you can see with Explode Despair it's doing some massive damage. And so I didn't use Heal Undead on the Lost Souls, because I want to use it after they come back with Undying. Otherwise it's just wasting the healing. Here I guarded, and I positioned myself in a way both can attack me, because actually I knew from the damage preview that they would not kill me and I would stay with 2/8 health points. And then, so I could shadow step there and go move back, but actually I've got only one unit to deal with here, and I'm going to kill it quite fast. So then both would move, and so actually I can just get one more unit coming for me now, because I'm going to finish dealing with that. So it doesn't make really sense to move them further on the right. So instead I'm trying to optimize damage. So I just shadow step there and hit the Ogre to do some additional damage. Then, so with my Necro I could Black Bolt the Dread Monkey or engage it. But that's not the best move, because he can maybe flank me or engage me and I might be in trouble. So instead, that's better to, as soon as possible, you need to get the Cadaver up and running, and then kill one unit and heal it with Devour Corpse as soon as possible. So here is a good opportunity. It's blocking the passage, except if you use sprint, sorry. And yeah, so I just use the Cadaver, and then I've got 2 units to fight the monkey. So then that's where the monkey sprinted. It was not too bad, because I was lucky. Actually, I forgot. But even if I wasn't lucky, I would not have taken that much damage. So then I can take some hits with the Cadaver, because I know next turn I'm going to Devour Corpse, and I will get back 25 health points. And then I'm 3 versus 2, and my Lost Soul is going to come back. So I'm going to skip the end of the fight. You can imagine how I deal with it, splitting them again extra, devouring corpses and stuff like this. So I leveled up. I took Devour Corpse because I thought, okay, maybe I could do the two other fights, and that's what I did. And so with Devour Corpse on my Necro, it's much easier to heal. So for this fight I had the Dread Monkey, but I wanted to keep it, but it died, and I raised it as a Cadaver. So here I've got an added difficulty, because there is this human priest with spirit damage, but actually thanks to Arc Leech and protection from light, I have 0% spirit protection, because 50% spirit weakness plus Leech Aura and protection from light. So actually that's not such a big deal, but still 8 base damage on 26 or 20 or 7 actually now HP, that's still a lot. So again I'm trying to split them, and I wanted to split the priests together with Archer, but I had one problem here, that was how to engage the fight, because they didn't want to come toward me. I didn't want to cast spells because I wanted to keep my casting points, only have 15 for the last fight. So instead I sent the Dread Monkey through fields, but then I'm quite close from the priest, and I did move at a place where the priest could move and hit me, but he preferred to hit the monkey, who was probably better target in terms of damage. So then I was not in a very good position, because my splitting didn't work very well. I had only 1 on one side and the 3 others on the other side. So it was actually not exactly what I wanted. So I killed the Civic Guard with Black Bolt. I paid attention to stay far from the priest to avoid being killed by the Spirit Ray. But then the monkey exposed its flank to the Longswordsman. I tried to slow it down and push him to attack the Lost Soul, but he decided to go away. and then thanks to the Iron Heart, he could not be hit by the spirit damage of my Lost Soul anymore. So then I decided to finish the Longswordsman. But I was concerned about the priest, so I guard, and I can finish him here, but didn't plan for double lucky. So then this Lost Soul come back, but I'm concerned it would die, so I have to pull her out of the fight. So then I'm 2 versus 3, which is not really good. Plus 1 Lost Soul is going to die. So I brought back, as I said, you need to raise the Cadaver as soon as possible. So that's what I did. Finished the Longswordsman, and then I didn't have any movement points left with the Lost Soul, so obviously the priest killed it. So then I decided to move away and try to get this Lost Soul back. But again, something bad happened. It's that one of the enemy units works on the Cadaver of the Lost Soul, so it cannot come back here. So then I continue to retreat to try to regroup and get my Lost Soul back. Then I do get my Lost Soul back, but she's going to die. So I try to ensnare the archer, and then again was in trouble. If I engage the priest, it's going to do 9 damage to my Lost Soul, and then it's dead. So what to do? Just guard, and then it reduces the damage output to 6 maximum, and then problem solved. So then I can use Devour Corpse to heal my Necro and the Cadaver, and I wanted to give the experience of killing the archer to this Lost Soul, but she was too slow, so I had to give it to this one. And because the Cadaver I raised was my Dread Monkey, so he still had movement points. So that's one good thing. If one of your unit dies and enemy units dies, prefer reanimating your own units, because usually they will have medals, so you keep the medals, and they keep their old movements, so you can still move them. Whereas new units you raise from enemy corpses, they have 0 movement points, so this one I could not bring with me. Then the last fight. So there I had 2 T3 against me. So this time I used Stiffen Limbs. So again, they didn't attack me on first round, and I decided to split them, obviously. And so I want to get the 2 T3 on one side, these 2 guys on the other, deal with them, and then deal with the T3 one by one. So I need to split the T3 also. And here I was lucky actually in the split for the T3. So I used Strokers to try to engage the fight, and it worked. Was lucky here. Otherwise, would have been in trouble to engage the fight. So the split worked perfectly. I paid attention not to get too close to the Gryphon was in the middle, so that he goes on the left. Then hitting the initiate, not paying too much attention to the damage she will deal back, because I can heal or hit corpses. And here I was kind of lucky because this guy, because of the hole, I think, didn't move, and so it did a natural split. When this one killed the Lost Soul, the second one moved directly toward me. It was relatively good timing. So I finished killing this initiate. Now I want to hit the corpse as soon as possible before the other guys come back. But actually, I didn't have time actually, but almost. So now this Gryphon is coming back. The best for me is to give him a valid target so that it is unguarded, and then I can deal with him. So I give him the Cadaver. This guy coming back, the Gryphon coming back. The bad thing is here is that my Lost Soul came back too early, and I could not escape from the range of the Gryphon, so I had to retreat. But fortunately it was the last fight I had to do. So here I sacrificed my Lost Soul to remove all the action points from the Gryphon, then tried to kill it but didn't succeed, partly because it was lucky, partly because my damage output was not enough. So I decided to finish with my leader, but still not enough damage output. And so here the best would have been to move there and attack him so that my Lost Soul can come back. But I've got this Gryphon here was almost there, and see, if I move here I'm going to lose my Cadaver. If I move there I'm also going to lose my Cadaver because the Gryphon has first strike. So I had no option. Here it was bad positioning because I cannot get my Lost Soul back. Then obviously, no, sorry, didn't say anything. So Swordsman goes for my leader. Then, so new plan. Flank the Swordsman to disengage my leader, and then cast Stiffen Limb on the rider so that he cannot reach me. I was lucky with the Cadaver, allowed me to keep him alive, kill the Swordsman, and then I can just retreat, eat corpses, because the Gryphon Rider doesn't have enough movement points. Still I gave him the Cadaver as a target. Now the issue is it's actually not that easy to kill it because it has a lot of movement of health points. So here I innovated a little bit and did that. And I had one health point left, but it worked. So yeah, I eventually killed the Gryphon Rider. So I hope it was useful to show these 3 fights, just show how to clear early game sites with a Necromancer, even with a small army. It also shows the strength of the Necromancer. Just with 3 units with low health, I was able to clear these 3 sites. And I could have continued if I had more movement points. Thanks for watching, leave me some comments, and see you for next round.